think we're live. It is Tuesday the 15th of December, and it's Yoga Flow. So if you're at home, I don't plan on using anything special. Get yourself set up there with whatever you need to be comfortable. Same here in the studio. Moving, yeah. So get easy in the way you're sitting. You can be cross-legged. You can stretch your legs out if you're at home. You want to sit up on blankets, do it. Close your eyes. Shift around a little bit. See if you can just rock a little bit side to side. Just so you feel your body weight shifting one side to the other. And then try to settle in to be very equal between your sitting bones, so that it feels very easy to lengthen up through the top of your head. Starting to feel your breath now coming in and going out through your nose. See if you can let the breath come into the belly, maybe even into those three-part breaths, inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, all the way up into your chest. And let your face be light. Release our arms on out beside us here now. Just lightly touching the ground if you're on the floor. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And reversing. Inhaling the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. And now make a big circle. Let your arms come forward. A big circle with your arms coming up overhead. And then reaching back behind yourself as much as you can to come back down to touch lightly. And then reverse that circle. Reach back first, coming back and up over the top, and then coming on forward and releasing the arms on down. And flexing through the feet. Let's come on forward into a seated forward bend. So take your time. Doesn't matter whether you stay up high or continue to go forward if your back feels good to do that. Releasing, if you can, your head so that you feel no tension in your neck. And that's different for everybody, so just be nice and released into your breath. Feel the ribs expanding as you inhale. And then we'll come up and out to walk over towards our right thigh. So coming out over that thigh. Let yourself, if you can, stretch your left arm long. You might want to stay up on your fingertips. You may decide you want to go further, flatter onto your hand, but just release there through the left side of the body. And then bringing that hand back, we'll walk back through center, and we're going to go over to the left. So coming out over that left thigh, and extending the right arm long if you can, so that you find, again, that length through the right side of the body. And then we'll come on back into center. Take a breath here. Let yourself, again, release if you can to let your head hang a little bit. And then walking on back upright. Let ourselves come all the way back up. And bring your hands behind you. Lean back either onto fingertips or flat hands. That's up to you. Drawing your chest forward, opening here through the front body. Good. And then we'll come on up. Let's stretch our legs out here for a second. And move through your feet and your ankles. Circle around a little bit. Shake out a little bit if you can. And then let's keep our right leg long and bring our left foot into the inside of our right leg. Whether it's above or below your knee is up to you. And then just wake up the back of that right leg as you come a little bit forward. Whether you reach out to your toe or keep your hands on the top of your leg or beside your leg on the floor. Just really enjoy now feeling the back of that leg. One more breath. And then we'll come up, and now let's just bring that left knee up. Now you can have the foot be inside either above or below your knee for a little twist here. That's up to you. We're going to bring that left arm on around behind us, twisting towards our left, bringing your right hand either to your knee or your arm across if you want. Just let it feel good. Lengthen up through the top of your head. One more breath. And then we'll come on back around into center. Stretching the left leg long. Let's bring our right foot into the inside here. Depends on you how high or low. And then ease your way on forward. So take your time. Just wake up the back of the leg. Don't go extreme. Just let it feel pretty good to feel the back of that left leg here now. And one more breath. And then as we slowly come up, bring the right knee on up. And again, the foot can go above or below your knee before you twist here, inhaling into the length. And on the exhale, right arm comes behind, coming on around into your twist. Again, where you put your left hand or arm is up to you. Just let it feel easy to wake up your spine here now. Feel your sitting bones drawing down and engage your low belly a little bit. Good. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you back around into center. Let's bring both feet onto the floor. And then lean back just a little boat pose, not huge, just letting your feet come on up in the air. Flex your feet. Feel the outside of your big toe mounts pressing together. And let your heels separate just a little bit. And if you want, you can let go and let yourself release for a breath here. And then release to bring your hands down. Stretch your legs long and open up again through the chest here. Now with your legs long, opening up here. Just releasing into those three-part breaths. Nice. And let's come on back forward and shake yourself out a little bit. We'll come around onto our hands and knees. So if you know you need a blanket underneath your knees, use it. Let yourself take your time. Be mindful of having your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, and actually, for a second, curl both your toes under. Curl your toes under, shift your hips back a little bit, and feel the bottoms of your feet excuse me, opening up a little bit there. And then shift back so that you can come to the tops of the toes and start to move through your cat-cows easily and in your own timing. So whether you feel like you want to move a little faster or a little slower, just wake up the spine here. Feel that rolling through the back. Feel your hands equal on the floor there. Good, and then finish off. Come back to more neutral spine. Let's send our right foot behind us. Curl the toes under on the floor there. Press into the heel. Wake up the back of the leg. Engage your belly a little bit. Float that right leg up about parallel to the floor. Your toes are facing down towards the ground. If you can extend your left arm forward, coming into a little balance there, do. And then on your next inhale, rise the arm and the leg up a little higher. And then exhale them both back down. And we'll switch to put the left foot behind us on the floor. Curl the toes under. Press into the heel. Wake up the back of the leg there. And then float the leg up again so it's about parallel to the floor. And reaching your right arm forward if you can into that balance. Let yourself enjoy zipping up the low belly. And on the next inhale, if you can rise the arm and the leg a little higher, do. And then we'll bring the hand of the knee down. We're going to shift back to pose of a child. Let yourself release. If you need to come farther forward onto your forearms more, do. But let your elbows be soft. If possible, see if you can put your hands up onto your upper back. So your elbows are bent and kind of coming in towards your head. And your hands are just resting there on the upper back or maybe behind at the back of your neck. And just breathe. Feel that release in the hips, in the low back. And then we'll bring the arms on back down, and let's come on forward and step our left foot forward to find our first lunge. So you know if you like your blocks under your hands, grab them. Left foot forward, right foot back, and coming on up with that back knee. Coming into that first lunge, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And we're going to switch and go to the other side. So again, lining up that front knee. Let yourself open up here. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Good, and let's switch again. This time, and you may need a blanket, we're going to lower that back knee down to the floor and come to the top of your right toes, pressing into the mat. Maybe even lifting up. You may even want to put your hands up on your thigh. It depends on you. You may not. You may want to stay forward with your hands down to your blocks. Let yourself feel good about opening up through the front of the right hip here. If you want to bring your hands to your heart or even extend your arms up overhead, you can. And then let's lower our hands back down now to the blocks or the floor and shift our hips back and straighten that front left knee out. You're extended out over that front leg. So you're feeling just a little deeper into the back of the left leg here. Good, and then we'll shift back forward again. Lift the back knee up. Find your lunge there with the knee off the floor again. And then we'll switch. So we'll bring that right foot forward, finding your lunge first. And again, if you need a blanket, bringing it underneath that knee. And then as you lower the left knee down, pressing into the top of the toes. Now the idea of lifting up is totally up to you. You can keep your hands down. You can bring your hands up to above your knee to give yourself support. Maybe you feel good to bring your hands to your heart or extend your arms up overhead. We're going to lower our hands back down, and we're going to shift our hips backward and come into that straighter right leg as we extend the torso out over that front leg. So opening up the back of the leg there. Good. And then let's shift back, forward, lift the back knee up to find that lunge again. And from here, let's come on into downward facing dog pose. Let your feet come on back, walk a little bit in your dog, and even go to the tops of the feet, 1 foot at a time, pressing into the top of your toes. Give your legs time to adjust, and you can wag your tail around if it feels good. Good, one more breath. And then from here, we'll walk our feet up towards our hands. So as you come into getting yourself into your standing forward bend, be mindful here. Get your feet hips distance apart and parallel. Let yourself make sure you're not rolling to the inside, to the outsides of your feet. And then just release. Really allow yourself to Let your head hang. If you want to hold your elbows, do. If you need support, use that support underneath your hands or your forearms. See if you can feel the weight of your head. So nodding or shaking your head if that helps. Good. One more breath. And we'll bring our hands up to our hips. Press into our feet as we rise straight up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. Let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So if you need to shift around a little bit to find your mountain pose, do. Let yourself get comfortable and feel very balanced between your feet. And as your hands come gently together, spread your fingers a little bit. Feel that connection in your hands. And then whether your eyes are opened or closed, enjoy bringing your focus on out as though you're looking out to the horizon. You might even picture in your mind's eye something you could see out on the horizon. It could be anything. Just allowing the body to adjust itself into being aligned, really, as long as you feel that gentle engagement of the belly and the tailbone dropping down. The body naturally wants to stack itself up there. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bend our knees and come on forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. Whether your hands are on your shins or the floor or your blocks. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into downward facing dog pose. Good. Spread those fingers wide. Feel your elbows softly hugging towards each other. Reaching back equally through your sitting bones. And on our next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Nice and strong plank, engaging the belly. See if you can feel the inner thighs reaching up towards the ceiling. And we're going to lower down. You're welcome to put your knees down first or come through a full push-up. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on to our forearms into a sphinx. Elbows under the shoulders, bringing our gaze between our hands here, or maybe a little bit more forward. See if you can feel the belly gently engaging. One more breath. And then release down and bring your arms now straight out from your shoulders, like a T position with your arms. And on your next inhale, float your hands and your chest up just a little bit. So a little bit of different feeling. Here we are. Feel the tops of the toes on the floor gently. And then we'll come back down. Hands come back in by the chest. We're going to come back into down dog, however you choose to get there. Hands and knees, half or full push-up. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. And then coming on back into our standing forward bend. If you're able to, let your hands come up to your back and clasp your hands together. Let them rest on your back there. And then feel the breaths, full deep breaths. Let your breaths even out if you can. One more, nice. Inhale and exhale. And then bend your knees, press into your feet. We're going to come up, keep your hands behind you if you can. Slide your hands down so the arms are fairly straight but not locked. Bringing your gaze on forward and out. And then from here, just let your chin come down towards your chest. Release your head forward. And then bring your gaze on back up. Let's tilt our head to the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then come back up to the top and go left ear towards the left shoulder. And then come on back up to the top again. Let's release the hands and inhale the arms up. Mountain with arms overhead. So arms can be a wide V or directly over your shoulders. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Feel your feet equal in the floor. As you inhale, if you're able to look up, do. And on the exhale, we'll bend the knees and come forward into standing forward bend. And next inhale lengthens our spine. Back of your head in line with your spine, so you'll be looking a little behind yourself. And we'll step left foot back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let your inhale carry you out to your plank. And we're going to lower down, elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into a little cobra. If you feel like pressing up higher, you can. Elbows hug in. Try not to lock your elbows. Feel space between your ears and your shoulders. And then we'll lower on back down. And again, bring your hands straight out into that T position with your arms. Hands out from the shoulders. Come on to fingertips. Press gently down into those fingertips. And on the next inhale, float your legs and your arms and your chest up a bit. Coming into a little locust pose here. One more breath. And then we'll come back down, hands back by the chest. We'll make our way back into down dog. Again, whether you go through a half or a full push-up, up to you. And then this left foot comes forward this time to come into lunge. And coming back into standing forward bend. So again, ease your way. If you can hold your elbows, do. You know if that's too much, don't do it. Feel the weight of the torso. Backs of the legs just gently opening up. Let your face go. Soften. And try to release your jaw. And then we'll let our hands come on back up to our hips. Bend our knees and rise on up. Inhaling the arms out and up. And on the exhale, letting our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Moving now with the breath. Releasing the arms on down beside us. Let's inhale both arms out and up. And let our exhale carry us forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward dog. And let your inhale carry you on out to plank. Your exhale lower you down. And inhaling into your cobra. Exhaling back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up. Arms all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Inhaling out to the plank and letting your exhale lower you down. Inhaling into your cobra. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up. Inhaling all the way out. And let your exhale carry you forward. Good. Inhale into that long back. And we're going to come into down dog. Place your hands. You can jump or walk your way back. Adjust. Do what you need. If you want to shake your legs one foot out at a time, do. Or shift around a little bit. Just let the body wiggle around a little. Good. And then from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. Now, when you do, coming into Warrior 2 here, have both your blocks handy at the front of your mat, in case you need them. Line your heels on up there. Let yourself shrug your shoulders a couple of times so that you feel this ease, that you can release the shoulders down. Shake your arms out a little bit. And then bring the arms up so you can bring your right arm under your left. Give yourself a hug, or if you want to come into eagle wrap, you can. Whatever feels the most releasing for your shoulders. Feeling that space between the shoulder blades opening up. Good. And then we'll release the arms on down and inhale the arms straight on out from the shoulders. Reaching out through the fingertips. Let your hands come a little bit higher than you usually would. And really allow your shoulders to soften down. And then lower the hands a tad so it's easy to look right out over the top of that left hand. And we'll bring our right hand down to our right hip. We're going to straighten the left knee out and bring our left hand down for triangle. Me, I like to use a block. You can use your leg if you want. You can have a hand on the block to the inside or the outside of that left leg. And stretching that right arm up if you choose. If your shoulder doesn't like that, keep your hand down. Just enjoy really lengthening out through the spine. One more breath. And now lower your right arm down towards your head. Turn the palm down towards the ground. A deep side stretch going on there. Really feel that right side waist. Good. And then we're going to bend the front knee. Come on back into Warrior Two. Pressing those feet away from each other. And turning the left palm up. Let's inhale. We'll reach up towards the sky. And on the exhale, come into side angle this time. So left hand or forearm onto the thigh above your knee. Swinging that right arm up into line if you can with the right side of your body. Drawing that outer left hip back. Enjoy finding that sense of length through both sides of your body here. One more breath. And we're going to turn to face the mat and find a lunge briefly. You might want your blocks under your hands. You may want your hands on the floor. And then from the lunge, we're going to walk around into a wide-legged forward bend. So whether you bring your blocks with you or you walk your hands onto the floor, come on around, get your feet the distance apart that feels good, fairly parallel, and then go ahead and start to bend a knee at a time. So give yourself time to enjoy the inner thigh stretch there. Good. And then come back into center. Bend both your knees a little bit. Now, if you're able to, walk your hands back more towards between your feet. And you know if this hurts your back or bothers your back at all, don't do it. And then see if you can let your head hang. And if it doesn't work for you, use support. Elbows can be above the knees. You can have your forearms on blocks. Another couple of breaths here. Good. And then walk your hands back out so that you find a longer back. If you want, you can have your hands on a block. That's up to you, or they can be on the floor. We're going to add a little twist. So left hand is more to the midline. Right hand is going to come to your right hip. And you're going to roll that right shoulder up, pressing the feet gently away from each other. Feeling that twist in the middle of the back. So you're very level there at your sacrum. Your hips are level. Good. One more breath. And then come on back down with that right hand. We're going to switch. Left hand's going to come up. Feet are going to press away from each other as we roll that left shoulder up. So really feel like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. Feel your inner thighs releasing back behind you. And then we'll come on back down again. And release to where you can be for a couple of breaths where you feel very easy in your upper body. Give yourself time there. Even full deep breaths. And then we're going to walk our hands back out. We're going to walk back over to that left foot to come back into lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. So find your dog, walk if you need to, spread those fingers wide. And then come on out to the plank. And see if you can just bend one knee at a time, like you're walking in your plank. So make sure it's very controlled. Try not to drop into the belly when you bend that knee. Keep your belly really working when you bend the knee. And then come on back to your full plank and let's lower down. Knees first if you need, all the way down. And let's come to an up dog, either with your feet, toes, top of the toes on the floor, where the knees lift up off the ground, or maybe you prefer to curl your toes under. That's up to you. Letting yourself be in the feet in a position where you feel good to be. And then from here, we're going to come all the way back down to the mat again, and we're going to shift back into child's pose. Let yourself shift all the way back. Bend those elbows again if you can. Put your hands on your upper back. Breathe into the low back here. Good. One more breath. And then extending the arms back overhead. We're going to come up to all fours, and we're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Walk a little bit. And then this time we're going to bring our right foot forward. We're coming into warrior two. So line up those heels again. Find that alignment of your front right knee there. Kind of move through your hands, shake out your arms. Be real easy there. And then float the arms on up. We'll bring the left arm under the right. Again, you can hug and stay hugging or come into that eagle wrap or half wrap. Let it feel good. That space between the shoulder blades opening up. Good. And then unfold the arms on down. We're going to float the arms up. Again, get your hands a little higher than usual. Let your shoulders melt down. Feel really good about that sense of really releasing the tops of the shoulders. And then lower the hands a little bit so you can easily look out over the top of the right hand there. Feet pressing gently away from each other. Good. And then letting your left hand come to your left hip, we'll straighten the right knee out. We're going to bring the right hand down for triangle. How low you go, up to you. You know that. Again, you can grab a block, be any height on a block or on your leg. Thighs engaging upward. If you like to extend the left arm up, you can. If you feel good to look up towards the ceiling, towards your hand up there, you can. Feel the thighs, though, still continuing to lift upward. One more breath. And then let the left arm come down more towards your head. The palm faces the floor, and you come into this really deeper side stretch there for the left side waist. One more breath. And then bring the arms straight back up. We're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing the feet away from each other. And then turn your right palm up, and inhale as you reach up towards the sky, reverse warrior. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. So again, it's your hand or your forearm above your knee there, bringing the left arm up into line if your shoulder lets you. Take your time, press down into that forearm, draw the outer right hip back. Extend here through both sides of the body. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to turn to face the floor. Come into lunge. And from the lunge, remember, we're going to walk around into a wide-legged forward bend. So use your blocks if you want them. Let yourself, once you get your feet set, walk over towards your left foot, however far you want to go. Bringing your left hand on up to your hip, rolling, if it feels good to you, the shoulder up a bit. And then coming on back down, we'll walk back through center, and we'll go towards the right foot. And again, right hand comes up, whether you add that little twist, rolling the shoulder up or not is up to you. And then come on back down with the hand, walk back into center, and adjust again to where you're going to be easy in the pose with your upper body being able to release. Use blocks if you want, under your forearms, under your head. Hands can be between your feet, on your ankles. Remember, elbows can rest above the knees. But now just focus all the way through to the end of your inhales, all the way through to the end of your exhales. walk our hands back out forward again so we can walk back to our right foot. Coming on back into lunge. And come back into your downward facing dog pose. And you're on your own here. If you want to come out for a plank, moving through to a back bend, you can, or you can come down with your knees and rest in child's pose. You can come through chaturanga, bending your elbows, and coming through a vinyasa instead of a kriya. Follow what your body feels like doing right now. Good, and then we'll meet back in down dog. And then from here, bring your feet maybe just a little bit closer together. We're going to lift our left leg up for a three-legged dog. Let the toes face down. And now, we're going to inhale like we're coming into a plank and bring our left knee in towards our chest. And then we're going to reach back long again. So again, coming down with the knee and then in towards your chest as you come like towards a plank. And then inhale back out. And then one more time. Exhaling, coming forward. And inhaling back up. And then from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward into lunge. And we're going to make our way into a pyramid from here. You might want to grab blocks. We're going to straighten that front knee out. Let that right heel descend down towards the mat. And now just extend the torso out over the inner left leg here. Remember, both arches are lifting up. You might want to check your feet. Make sure you're not rolling to the inside or the outside of either foot. Enjoy that extension. Once you feel really easy about that, if you want to fold over that front leg, do. You're welcome to turn your hands with the fingertips to face the back of your mat if that feels good in your shoulders. Good. One more breath. And then walk yourself on back so the back is long again. We're going to bend the front knee, come on back into lunge. And we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. Let yourself release by walking all the way over the tips of the toes, pressing into the toenails. And then let's come on out to plank. See if you can add a little side plank. Doesn't have to be a full one. Left knee down if you want to do a variation. Rolling onto that left hand there, stretching the right arm up, and you can do a full side plank if you'd rather. And then we'll come on back down with the hand, come back through your plank, walk in your plank a couple of times, and we'll go to the right side. So the right knee can go down or not. You can shift to that right hand, stretching that left arm up. If you're in that knee down position, you might want to lift that left foot off the floor. Or even if you're in a full side plank, you might want to lift the left foot up a little higher. One more breath. We're going to come on back down, find plank again. And then you can decide whether you want to move through to an up dog or not. Maybe you've had enough. You want to put your knees down. Let yourself move how you choose. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. Feet a little closer together. Right leg up in the air behind us. Turn the toes down towards the ground. And then we're going to bring that knee forward. Come out like you're doing plank. And then inhale back into that three-legged dog. And exhaling your way forward. And inhaling back. And one more time. Finding that three legs again. This time we're going to bring the right foot forward to find lunge. You might want to grab your blocks. And we're going to come into pyramid. Straightening that front leg out. Really getting grounded through both feet, remember. So really feel that back foot. If you need to adjust it into a shorter stance or a longer stance, do. Extending the torso out at first. Feeling that sense of using your belly, zipping up your low belly. And then if you decide to fold over, that's fine. You don't need to. If you like to just bend your elbows a little bit, if you like to turn your fingertips back towards the back of your mat. Good, one more breath. And then extend out again. Let yourself find your pyramid there, extend it out long. And we'll bend the front knee. Come on back into lunge again. And again, last time, back into down dog. Last time if you want to do some vinyasas or kriyas. If you'd rather stay in dog, stay in dog. If you'd rather put your knees down, come into child's pose, do. Good. Let's finish off. Back in down dog. Let your feet then widen towards the outside edges of your mat. Walk on out. And then bend your knees as you walk your hands back. Whether you decide to put your elbows above your knees or send your hands between your feet around the outside of your ankles. And if you want to shift down with your hips, go for it, right? If that feels really good to you. You can do your squat with your hands forward too if you'd rather. So come into where you feel really easy to be. Your hips feel good, your back feels good. Take your time. Let the hips and the low back release. Good, one more breath. And then bringing yourself forward with your hands, walk your feet on back underneath you. Hips distance apart and parallel. Bend the knees a little bit. Let your head turn a little bit side to side. Coming into your Uttanasana now. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, rising on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down in front of our chest. Spread your fingers wide now. Enjoy allowing your body, again, to align itself. And once you get the pelvis aligned, letting the gaze come on out. Whether your eyes are open or closed, doesn't matter. And then we'll let our arms unfold, release on down beside us, and shake out a little bit, move through however you want. And we're gonna bring our mats to a wall. So at home, if you have a bit of a wall, use it. If you don't necessarily have to do this next series with a wall at your feet, okay? But if you have one, you might want to use it. So let's grab our blocks and have your blocks to the highest height. And if you do have a wall back there, we're going to bring our right foot onto the wall for Warrior 3 with the toes facing down, so that when you look back at your foot on the wall there, you can see it. So the heel is directly back from your sitting bone. Then you've got to think about that right leg being in the right place, right? You don't want it too far back. You don't want it too far forward. You want the foot right under your hip there. Straighten the legs out as best you can. And then see if you can bring your left hand up to your left thigh. Feel that right foot in the wall. Imagine you're kind of drawing it up towards the ceiling a little bit. And then see if you can come to the fist of your right hand on the block. And then from there, start to reach that left arm forward, like you're stretching forward, even looking towards the front of your mat a little bit. Nice and strong. And then bring your left hand back onto your hip and then your low back and start to rotate that left shoulder up, coming into a twist here. Feeling the foot back there on the wall, lengthening out through the top of your head. One more breath. And then come on back. Both hands can come down. Now, if you want to experiment with both hands coming to your heart, do. And then we'll bring the hands down, bring the foot down, and put the left foot back on the wall right away because it'll feel really good. And again, you might have to adjust a little bit. You might want to look at your toes, make sure that foot's not too high. And then again, I really feel that sense now of the foot pressing into the wall. Let your right hand come on up to your thigh, right above your knee there. Press into the foot on the block. On the wall. And then see if you can come up to your fist on that left hand. So you're a little bit higher. And then stretch your right arm forward and see if you can look towards the front of your mat a little bit. One more breath. And then bring your right hand back down. Now we're going to let ourselves twist, right hand to the hip or the low back, and turning to look towards your right. Good, one more breath. And then come on back down again. Now if you decide you want to try both hands, coming up to your heart, you can. And then let yourself release. Bring your feet on down. Walk back towards the wall. And see if you can just keep your feet away from the wall, but shift your hips back to the wall. Bend your knees, bring your elbows above your knees. You can rest there. And if you'd rather, you can fold over your legs and let your hips stay in the wall. So you can come into Uttanasana where your hips are back behind your heels onto the wall. And just breathe. Let it feel like a relief wherever you're finding, whatever you're doing here. So use support if you need it. Good, one more breath. And now shift your weight back up forward off the wall. And we're going to bring our knees down and put our feet back towards the wall behind us. And come into child's pose. Letting ourselves release now. Really allow your arms to go where you feel the most released in your shoulders. So whether they're soft overhead or bring your arms back alongside your legs. Just nice and easy breaths. And then bring the arms back forward. We're going to thread the needle. We're going to send our left arm on through and let yourself come down onto the left side of your head if you can. And you can stay right there with the right elbow bent, or if it feels good to stretch the arm overhead. If that feels even better in your shoulders to release, do. And then bring your right hand back by your face. Press yourself up. And come to the other side. So threading the needle with that right arm coming under. Again, you can let the left elbow soften, or you can reach the arm overhead. And just breathe. Good. And then left hand back by your face. We're going to press up, and we're going to come on forward under our forearms. Let your hands clasp, send your pinky finger out. And you don't have to have a wall at home for this. And you can lift up into your dolphin pose without heels being up the wall. That's up to you. So whether you decide you like your heels to have that support, or maybe you feel better just to be freestanding, everybody's different. So if you don't feel quite right in your shoulders, come down. You can let your arms come farther forward or back, so that your shoulders feel okay. If you can stay for another couple of breaths, do. Elbows hugging inward. Imagine your heart melting a little bit more behind you. And then lower your knees down. Take a little break. If you're able to break by sitting up on your feet, do. If that's too much, don't do it. But if you're able to make that little bowl by bringing your big toes together and your heels apart, you can sit up, let yourself release there, having your head up above your heart again. Good. And we're going to come forward one more time. You can decide whether, if you'd rather do a forearm plank instead of coming up into dolphin, do. I know some of you who are up in your dolphin with your heels up the wall like to bring one foot up the wall. So if that feels good, you can. You can play a little bit with bringing a foot or even both feet up the wall if you want. So take your time, let it feel what feels good for you today. So if that means you need to come down and rest, do it. So when you are ready to come to rest, you can rest in your pose of a child. Or again, if you feel better, just sit up with your head up above your heart. Then let yourself do that. So take your time, let yourself rest how you can. And then we're going to make our way on around to sitting. And let yourself, if you know, forward bends are better done for you with a little support. Grab yourself a blanket if you need. We're going to stretch our right leg out long in front of us like we did at the beginning, bringing the left foot into the inside of that right leg, either above or below the knee. And if you need support underneath your knee, in order to think of coming forward, then use support, right? So you don't feel discomfort in your hip or your knee. And then just ease your way forward. It doesn't matter how far you go. Let it feel just like a relief for the back of your leg, right? Coming forward with that long back. Being with your breath. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly come up. And now we're going to open this leg out to the side. Now, how far you go is up to how you're built in your hips, right? So letting the leg come out, let the knee and the toe face up. And we're going to come forward from here. So again, if this bothers your knee, adjust this left foot. If you have to, put a block underneath it, bring it further out as you come forward, right? So if the deep bend to the knee is really uncomfortable, adjust. And let yourself just come forward from there. So you can have your hands in front of you. You're more than welcome to put a block there if you want. Let your forearms rest on a block if that feels really good. And let yourself feel the right heel on the ground. You'll get into a little deeper into the inner thigh here. Again, just watching your breath all the way in, all the way out. Good. And then we're going to slowly come up. Keep your legs the way they are if you can. Bring your right hand onto the top of your right leg and slide it down towards down your shin towards your ankle or your foot. And then extend that left arm up and over. Come on into a side stretch if you can. Breathing into that left side. One more breath. And then we'll slowly make our way on back up. And we're going to switch legs. So extending the left leg out and bringing to the front and bringing the right foot in. Again, above or below the knee. And if you feel iffy, add support underneath that right knee. so that when you start to come forward, and again, sitting up on a blanket can be really helpful with this, coming forward from the low back, bringing yourself out over that inner left leg. And then again, take your time. If you need to come back out of the forward bend a little bit, if you think of inhaling into a nice long back, and then on the exhale, just imagine coming a little bit more forward. So again, staying with your breaths. One more breath here. And then again, we're going to slowly walk up. And remember, we're going to open this leg out to the side. So if there's undue pressure on that right knee, again, put support. If you need to stretch the foot out further in front of you, sometimes it's necessary to stretch the leg long, right? So again, to think of coming forward, it's intense on the inner left thigh, but it's also a lot of pressure on that right knee. So, don't do it. If it bothers your knee, stretch the leg out if you need to, or use support. Again, if you like to have a block or some support underneath your forearms there in front of you, you can. So the left knee and toes are facing up towards the ceiling. The left heel is drawing to the mat and back towards you a little bit. So you're engaged really deeply. One more breath. And now take your time when you come up. Remember, we're going to add that side stretch here. So left hand comes down to the top of the leg, slides down towards your foot, your ankle. Right arm coming up and over. Of course, if it's too much, you can keep your right hand down. You don't have to add the arm. And if you feel like you want to reach your hand towards your toes, you can let that right sit bone float up off the floor. Good. One more breath. And we're going to slowly bring ourselves on back up. And from here, bring your legs out. Bring them closer together for a second and let your feet circle around a little bit. And then kind of do little windshield wiper blades, flip-flopping your feet around a little. And now, let your knees bend. Bring your hands behind you. And your feet are wide. You're just going to let your knees come over to one side and then switch and go to the other when you're ready. So you can kind of stay a little bit if you want. You can just easily move from side to side so that you inhale, knees up, and exhale them down. Just really pushing through a little bit into the front of this top hip if you can. Good. And then finish off and start to reach your legs out in front of you. I'm going to turn, but you guys stay so that you're a long ways on your mat. And then bring your hands behind you and let yourself from here decide if you want to lift up or not, right? You can turn your fingertips to where they face towards the foot of your mat, or you can turn your hands out a little bit. If you want to lift up into a little reverse plank here, you can look up. You can look forward if that bothers your neck. And then lowering on back down. Now just turn your hands to where the palms face up. You're on the backs of your fingers. And just bow your head. Let your hands release. Don't push. Just release the wrists there. Good. And then we're going to come into a little boat pose. So make sure, from the boat, we're going to come down onto our backs. Make sure you have room. You're not going to hit your head on a wall or anything. Let yourself release like we did at the first of class. Release the feet up. Let the feet flex. Feel the outside of the big toe mounds coming together, the heels separating a little bit. And then see if you can just extend one leg up longer and then bring it back. And then exhale the other leg up longer and bring it back. Now try to keep the length of the spine as you do this. Even look up a little bit. So when you extend that foot up, see if you can look up over the tops of the toes a little bit. And now, see if you can bend both knees again and do both feet on up. See if you can lengthen up here. Now you can keep holding. You can decide you want to hold higher up your legs or you can let go. So if you want to let go of your legs and come into bow pose, or if you prefer to hold on, be where you can there. And now bend the knees again. Let your hands release. And now we'll come into a half boat. We're going to lengthen the legs long and lower down a little bit, really using the belly here. If this bothers your back, do not do it. One more breath. And then we're going to lower everything down onto the floor. Once you're down, bring your right knee into your chest. Let yourself just flex through both the feet. Feel the right leg coming into your hands. And then bring the left knee in. Stretch the right leg long. Feel the left leg coming gently into your hands. Let the back be in its natural curves there. Good. And then bring both feet to the floor. Widen the feet a little bit towards the outside of your mat again. And let the knees just come easily side to side, but just a little bit. So let the knees stay up pretty high. You're just shifting from the top of one hip to another. Let it feel real relaxing. And then bring your feet in for a little bridge pose. Now, you got a lot of options here. If you'd rather use a block and be in supported bridge, you can lift up onto a block any height or 2 blocks if you like being high, and rest and let your back go there. Maybe you feel like you'd rather do bridge without blocks, or maybe you'd rather bring blocks under your feet to come into bridge pose. So play around a little bit with your bridge pose, right? You can come up and come back down. You know that if you feel like you don't have your feet positioned quite right. So feet in bridge are a little bit wider than they are in mountain, but they're still parallel. So you want to get yourself to where you feel really good to be. And of course, if any of you want to come down and come into a full back bend, you can come down, bring your hands above your shoulders, and push up into an upward facing bow pose. Or of course, you can come down and bring your knees in anytime you want. So bring your knees on in. Once you are down for good, just relax your back. If happy baby pose feels like a better way to relax your back, do that. You know, if you'd rather come into a little Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet towards each other, anything that helps your back and your hips feel better. Start to listen to your own body. There could be any number of things that feel good, because we're all feel totally different after the series that we've just done, right? So take your time. I'm going to start to get some lights here at the studio, and let yourself, if you're at home, and you know for Shavasana you like to have support or blankets to cover up with, or support under your head or your knees. And at the studio here, if anybody needs anything, wave at me. Remember, you have the wall there. If you need to turn around and swing your legs up the wall because that feels really good to you, go right ahead. And just let yourself release into your breath here. Accepting your breaths in and out. Appreciating the support of the ground underneath you. Letting your arms and your legs release so that you feel that release all the way up into your shoulders and your hips. And let the wave of your own breath bring you to those quiet places that come and go. As you keep returning to your breath, giving your body and your brain time to benefit from all you just did. Allowing yourself to completely and fully relax. firmness of the ground, letting your breath start to bring you back into wanting to physically move. Fingers and toes, hands and feet, leading you when you're ready, so that you gradually move up through your extremities, your arms, your legs. Might even want to let your head roll side to side. Take your time. Come back the way you need, whether you need to stretch or bend, stay on your back or roll to one side. If it's comfortable to be in a soft fetal position on your side, give your body a little time there to adjust. And of course, when you're ready to rise up to sitting, let yourself easily sit for your hips to be comfortable so that you can lengthen up through the top of your head, and you can let your arms come to a comfortable place. And on your next exhale, bring your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Tuesday.